So our next speaker is Brad Stevens. He's the founder and CEO of Entreholic. Brad created Entreholic with the mission to simplify and demystify marketing, making it easier and more accessible to businesses of all shapes and sizes. Brad's talk today is on taking your company into the next decade by embracing the rapidly growing virtual on-demand workforce. And now I will turn it over to Brad.
Well, hey, Nell, thanks so much for the opportunity. I'll get started here. Just want to make sure the audio is working. It's coming through clear.
You're good.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I will hopefully keep this impactful and short and high energy and some great takeaways for you. So thanks again for the introduction. Brad Stevens, CEO of Entreholic. And short story, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I had a toy rental business in third grade and a tutoring company in high school. I kind of grew up around entrepreneurship, and I knew that would sort of be my path long term after graduating from college. So that's what I've done the last 20 years. I have businesses in distribution and manufacturing partners, e-commerce and professional services. And when we exited our last business, I launched Entreholic, and as the name implies, it's this whole addiction to entrepreneurial type thinking. And no matter if you're a startup or a $200 million company, which we've worked with, everybody needs to maintain kind of the entrepreneurial spirit in how they build and grow their businesses. And so that's what we do at Entreholic, and we provide kind of innovative growth strategies for companies. And as she mentioned, we're going to talk about one of those topics today, particularly on the growing virtual on-demand workforce. So make sure everything advancing properly here. All right, so first of all, let's just talk about the changing landscape that we're all dealing with as business owners, as entrepreneurs, small, medium, and large. Is for one thing, particularly when it comes to marketing, things are just more complicated than they used to be, right? This used to be what marketing was. There was, 2 or 3 main channels. There's direct TV, radio, and the customer was at the end of the message, as this one graphic shows here. Fast forward, this is what it looks like now, right? You have to fight for mind share more than ever where the customer is concerned. And it's not as straightforward. The pros and the cons that we have all these new digital marketing tools to work with, but the con is we have all these digital marketing tools to work with. So there's a lot of options. The other thing is that just things are moving faster than ever, right? The old example is, Uber in the taxi market. Virtually overnight, a company was able to unseat an industry that's been around for decades by using technology and just really changing the whole user experience, which is really kind of what made that happen. And the problem is for business owners, and again, I see this from startups to, hundreds of millions of dollars type companies, is, they wake up every day and they're chopping down trees versus sharpening the axe. I think it was actually Abraham Lincoln had the old quote, if I had 5 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 4 of it sharpening the axe. And a lot of times as business owners, and I know myself, I wake up every day with a dull axe sometimes, and you wake up and we're just trying to chop down and keep our head above water and don't take time to really sharpen the axe and to do things smarter versus harder. And so I'm hoping to share some axe sharpening techniques here with you. So how do you overcome these challenges, right? The complexity of things are moving faster. What do you do to sharpen the axe? And the message that I like to share is leading with leverage, right? How to lead your organization, your business, right, with the concept of leverage. Because things aren't going to slow down. They're only going to get faster. And the only way you're going to progress and be successful, both from business and a personal standpoint, is knowing how to leverage time, money, and resources most effectively. How do you get the most from each of these, right? And also part of this is automating and delegating. How do you leverage some of the tools that are out there to automate and delegate and get things done faster, quicker, and smarter? So, one of the main vehicles I'm going to talk about here is how do you use a global team of on-demand talented freelancers. So I want to take any of you right now, if you have a mindset of when you hear the word freelancer or outsourcing, just pause whatever your kind of thoughts are on it. Everyone I find when I speak on this has different perspectives on it. Let me have an opportunity to kind of repaint that picture for you a little bit. The concept here is about how can you use this new global platform to get things done faster, cheaper, and smarter, okay? Literally, how do you get tens of thousands of dollars of work done? Sales, marketing, operations, HR, multiple constraint points that may be in your business. Literally, how do you get tens of thousands of dollars of work done for $500, in 2 weeks? And we're going to show some different examples of that. So part of the way I learned about this was in growing my last company before I launched Entreholic, because I stumbled across this whole world of on-demand global freelancers, and literally this is the kind of things I was able to get done. Tens of thousands of dollars of work, very fast, very low cost. Now there's a process to finding the high quality folks that can do the good work. But once you do, it's unbelievable how impactful it is. And now we have a team of about 50 people globally that we use. So the deal is, this isn't a short-term trend that I'm talking about here. This isn't a quick tip or trick. This is a seismic shift in the workforce of how things are going to get done. So you see 10 million up there. 10 million people. That's how many people there are on just one of these platforms, okay? And Upwork is one of those platforms. Fiverr is one of those platforms. 123 Employee is one of those platforms. This is a number of people globally, highly talented individuals, right? And a lot of people, when they think about freelancers, they think of like, a 12-year-old in a hoodie in a garage somewhere in another country that's making websites. Well, that has changed dramatically. These are highly talented, competent individuals, much like ones that are on this webinar right now, that have a tremendous skill set, and these platforms allow them to do work for people all over the world very efficiently. Forbes came out with an article, it was last year, that really kind of captures why this isn't a short-term trend. In the US alone by 2020, not to mention the rest of the world, right? But by 2020, that's just 3 years from now, 50%, okay, of the US workforce will be freelancers in some capacity. This on-demand work, instant gig economy is moving more and more into independent professionals that are using mobile and technology to create ecosystems of work they enjoy. And that's what's happening. Right? And that's why you can tap people all over the world that can do financial modeling for you for $250 in a couple of days versus $3,000 or $4,000 in a month. And why is it? Why can they do this type of work so low cost? Right? First of all, they have no overhead. Most of them are all working virtually. They're working out of their basement, or they're working at a co-working location, so they don't have a fixed expense overhead. Secondly, they don't have marketing costs. Right? They go set up a profile, they do good quality work, and they end up getting opportunities sent to them all over the world, 24/7, from all over the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they don't have to market themselves. They just get on-demand impact of work, and the platforms like Upwork and so forth do all of the marketing. And thirdly, it's just efficient. Right? I'll show you some examples here. There's a guy that used to work for a TV station and did video, and he learned how to do it. And now he has a platform on Fiverr, and he has 2 or 3 people in his basement, and he does it around the clock, and they become very, very efficient at what they do. So they can do it over and over and over again and produce a lot more output with less inputs. So what are the benefits of embracing, kind of understanding this whole freelancer economy and learning how to leverage your time, money, and resources more effectively? Well, first of all, right, it helps us deal with what a lot of us are challenged, which is overcome the growth ceiling, right? And when you're starting a business, or even if you're a larger business at some point, right, we all kind of had this upward trajectory, and then you hammer this growth ceiling, right? You have a restraint on cash or people or systems and resources, and you just deflect, and you never get to the other side. When you learn how to embrace these techniques, this teaches you how to stretch your dollars and your time much further, and you can actually get to the other side of that growth constraint. Secondly, the benefit is this lets you outsmart the competition with an unfair advantage. I speak on this stuff all the time, to startups, to large organizations. And when I ask anybody in the audience, how many of you have heard of any of these techniques? Less than 10% raise their hand. So those of you who embrace and learn how to use these techniques properly, you can really outsmart your competition and gain an unfair advantage out of the gates, right? The other thing is you can finally harness the digital marketing ecosystem, right? That first example I showed up on the first slide of how it looks now, and there's a zillion things floating around, right? There's social media and email marketing and blog writing and so forth. How do you possibly keep up with all of that? Well, by using these techniques, it allows you to build a team that can execute for you, that can make all of those things happen very, very cost effectively. As I said, I got 50 people all over the world. I got content writers, I got graphic designers, I got web developers. Some of them are individuals, and some of them are firms and agencies that we work with. But the thing is, they do things cost effective and fast. Like my social media firm is right here in Atlanta, Georgia. But I found them on one of these platforms, and they do it very cost effectively and do great work. And it helps you stop losing money in the warm leads. A lot of times we don't take advantage of the digital marketing solutions, and a lot of the opportunities that we have of people that we meet at a networking event, or people that visit our website and then don't bounce off because we don't have a way to capture their information, right? it's kind of the way I show it is in this graphic here, which is the nurture wheel is the left side, which are all those things that you need to be doing to stay on a person's radar. They need to be receiving emails. They need to be seeing you in their digital channels, Twitter, social media, channels, Facebook, LinkedIn. The other thing is making sure that they're seeing you from a search standpoint. You have webinars, thought leadership pieces. The only way that you can stay and keep all that content being produced, right, is leveraging these types of resources, depending on what your budget is, because the other wheel is life and business events. And if you earn the right to stay on someone's radar long enough, there will be a life and business event where there's an opportunity for a transaction. If you aren't in front of them and aren't staying top of mind, you won't have that opportunity. And the last thing is just helps you overcome staff fluctuations and turnover cost. So by leveraging some freelancer outsourcing resources to get things done, right, you don't go through a lot of the hiring and loss and retraining of staff in certain types of roles, right? You can leverage resources and turn it on and turn it off as needed. All right, so what to outsource? So I'd like to kind of share this through kind of a case study example. So we talked about some of the things that you can outsource with freelancers, but this is an example that kind of captures all of it in one little case study. So I have a relationship of mine. He's in commercial real estate, right? He's here in Atlanta and he does commercial real estate, which means that he wants to connect with people that are looking to either change office space, find new office space, and he knows how to do all these techniques that I'm talking about. And so he created a website called AtlantaOfficeSearch.com, meant to be purely an education website that's about content that drives traffic and generates leads from him on the web of people that are searching, that are trying to change office space. So he got this logo done, right? Using these platforms. He got Atlanta Office Search, pretty good looking logo. He got a full website done. I think it's 15, 20 pages. Well done website, well designed. He got animated video done on the website that explains it it's called a quick draw video that kind of explains the value proposition of what they do and why it's beneficial. He got infographics created. He got blogs written. He got a space calculator done by a freelancer that actually allowed them to go put a calculator on the website that they could estimate the amount of space that they need. And he got an ebook written to renew or to relocate. Got the whole thing written, all the graphic design done, and even a 3D rendering of it sitting on the page to capture names and email addresses, right? So you ask, what did all of this cost for him to get done, to get this whole lead generation incredible platform put together? Most people, is it, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000? None of those. He got all this stuff done for $840. The logo for $25, the website for $300, the videos for $100, the blogs for $90, infographic for $75, ebook, written graphic design and out the door for $125. And it was done in 2 weeks. That's the other part of the benefit with using these resources is speed of execution. It's not only about getting things done fast and low cost with good, competent resources, but it's about speed, because the faster you're to market, the faster you can generate revenue and generate cash in the door. So this is just a snapshot of examples of things that can be done. I'll share one other quick one. For example, I do a lot of speaking. And so I had someone capture all of this raw video footage of me speaking. And so I had all this footage. You can see here on the left, these are kind of snapshots of different things that I had. I had graphic images. I had testimonials from individuals that I captured after my speaking events that were done. And I had full music overlay. So I went on to Fiverr and looked for someone that just specialized in doing speaker videos. And I thought I was going to pay thousands of dollars to get this thing done. Found this guy. He's in Belgium. I sent him 2 hours of raw footage, all of the footage that he needed, all the graphic design, just sent him all that information. And he created an amazing 4-minute speaker video for me for $126 in 5 days. And that included all the music integration, all the graphics, all the interchange, and we only had 2 rounds of edits. So if you actually want to see the video, you can go to entreholic.com/speaking. But this is another example of speed and execution. And the amount of speaking I've done has generated a ton of revenue for me and being able to get this done that would have never gotten done otherwise from a cost and time standpoint. Another example, got an animated video done in 5 days for $86. Got a 10-page ebook written on how to market and grow your dog walking business. Long story, but we had someone in that segment that wanted an ebook written. Got the whole thing done in 2 days for $86. Social media management for $150 a month. Business plans. You can literally get full written, and I've had several of these done and seen the quality of them. Full business plans if you're looking to launch into a new market for $75 to $175. And we're talking about full SWOT analysis, financial modeling, and research in the industry. Again, people specialize in this stuff, and so they do it and repeat and are able to leverage their content. and a virtual assistant. This is a whole nother subcategory as far as freelancers, but I've got a woman that I work with. She's actually in the Philippines, and she's $7 an hour, university graduate, 24 years old, and I mean gets an unbelievable amount of tasks executed. And we have a great relationship, and I think we'll be working together very, very long term. And she helps to kind of manage our whole team of freelancers. So for about $1,100 a month, I get a full-time employee working 40 to 50 hours a week. She manages my email, manages my calendar, and manages all of our freelancer resources. So this just gives you a quick snapshot and kind of the limited time that we have here of sort of what's possible of leveraging a global on-demand economy of resources that you can get things done faster, quicker, smarter. So if anybody's interested, I've got a free quick start guide on how to kind of start using freelancers and outsourcing, and this guide that we published called the Top 200 Tools to Fuel Your Business Growth. And you can get that at entreholic.com/outsource. Go to that page and you just put your name and email and request those guides. Or you can just send an email to tools@entreholic.com and just put your first name in the subject line. So hopefully that was helpful. People have some takeaways, and appreciate the opportunity.